Hey everybody, some pretty somber news coming out of the studio at Bungie yesterday, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to unpack some of my thoughts on it. But most importantly, what I really wanted to do was take a moment to share with you some of the stories of some of the interactions that I've had and some of the professionalism that I've seen by some of the people that got laid off yesterday to sort of honor their legacy at Bungie and shed a little light on the kinds of things that they did and what the studio is losing by laying these people off. So the vibe's clearly in shambles. I mean, you look at social media right now and it's trending everywhere. And people are sharing their thoughts. There's a lot of anti-Bungie sentiment going around right now. And it's not a good look. It's a very bad look, especially when Pete Parsons, the CEO, had previously said there will not be any restructuring. There will not be layoffs as a fallout, as a result of this Sony acquisition. And then here we are months later, and that's exactly what is happening. It's exactly what's happened. So to be clear, this is literally a scenario where they have sold themselves to this megacorp, and when they did so, they lost a lot of their autonomy. They lost a lot of their abilities to make some decisions on their own. And so when Sony rolls in and says, we are changing things up, they have to bend the knee. They have to bow to them. And the thing that really sucks about this is that it is in direct contrast to the Bungie way that we have seen historically. The way that Bungie likes to do business is at direct odds with what we are now seeing come out of the studio. And so it's raising a lot of red flags for people and raising a lot of concerns. So a lot of people are saying, hey, a potential delay for the final shape is probably a good thing. Maybe it means better quality. But when we see it come in tandem with these decisions that are in stark contrast to the Bungie way, it makes us concerned about what the future for the game franchise is going to look like if we are going to start deviating from the standard. We've seen Bungie rally in recent past to support aid efforts for people affected by horrible tragedies and natural disasters and things of the sort. We've seen them go out of their way to accommodate for accessibility in their game. And so a lot of the choices that they make are people focused. And now some of the people that championed those causes for them are being let go, or have been let go. Let me share a few stories about some of these people that got let go that may have been overlooked or gone under the radar because maybe you don't see them front and center. First person I want to talk about is Matthew Bianchi. So Bianchi, who tweeted out yesterday he'd been let go, that one really sucked for me because I know what he brought to the table. So Matthew's job, what he would do is he would help organize these events where I would go out and other creators would go out and other members of the community would go out to Bungie, and he would basically take care of us. I mean, he would host these events, get everybody sorted, make sure everyone was taken care of. And you may think, oh, a big deal, he's taking care of content creators. No. So one of the things that I really want to highlight is a story I remember one time that I'd gone out there, and Bungie, I've talked about this before, Bungie is really good about making sure that it's not just content creators, YouTubers, streamers who come out and give advice and feedback on future parts of the game. But they balance that scale. They say, we're going to have some content creators there because they've got a lot of influence. They speak to their communities. They're got their finger on the pulse with what the community is after. But we also want to balance that out by having some just common gamers come out too. And one such event that I went to had an individual like that who had been invited out. They've never been to a game studio before in their life. They just loved Destiny. They had a full-time job elsewhere, but they liked to play and they were involved in the community, chatted on the forums, and liked to be a part of the conversation. And they said, let's have this person come out. This person came out. First time ever doing something like that, huge opportunity for them. Obviously that's a really great feeling for just somebody who's not connected to the gaming industry to be able to do something like that, go to your favorite studio and be hosted by them. What this individual was not aware of is that even though when game devs host these events and they pay for your hotel room, one of the things that people don't know if you don't travel a lot, you don't do business on the road a lot, is that when you stay at a hotel, they charge incidentals on your card when you get there. So you go there, and if you don't have a credit card, you just have a debit card that pulls straight from your bank account. And this individual didn't know this. So when they went to check in, they were unaware that their debit card, which they were told, oh, this is just for incidentals, don't worry about it. It basically charged, for, it's a ritzy hotel. They put you up in a nice place, and it charged it all to their card and withdrew, it overdrafted their bank account. So they basically had all the money taken out of their bank account and didn't realize it until after the first night of the event. It was a two-day event. After the first day of the event, we all kind of met up in the hotel lobby to have a couple of drinks and chat with each other. And this person came and tried to buy a drink for themselves. and realized then they had no money. So we picked up their tab real quick, and I got on the horn because I'd been to a couple of these events at this point, and I reached out to Matt and I said, oh, this is what's happening. Holy cow, this person feels terrible. I'm obviously very embarrassed about the whole thing. And Matt jumped out of bed. I mean, we're talking like this is like midnight in Seattle. He jumps up out of bed and he gets on it. He's immediately moving around Bungie funds, making phone calls, making accommodations, making sure that this person gets immediate funds back in their bank account so that they can have the freedom to do, what they had budgeted themselves to be able to do while they were there, and made sure that this person was taken care of and put that fire out immediately. It's just a testament to what we have associated with what is the Bungie way. It's taking care of people when they're in need. It's bending over backwards. It's going out of your way. And that's just one example. I've seen Matthew go out of his way to accommodate people and make sure they're comfortable, make sure they're taken care of, and they have a stress-free visit. I've seen him do that a number of times. And I can't think of a better person in the business that I've worked with in that capacity when it comes to hosting events and making sure that people, your guests, are well accommodated for. And the way that helps people like me and people like this individual I'm talking about perceive Bungie, it makes them look better when you have people like Matthew on the front lines taking care of your guests. So the Bungie way of taking care of people, often the people making sure that message is communicated clearly are these people like Matthew, now laid off after his many years working at Bungie, and I think that is a huge loss for the studio. I think about Liana, our community manager, laid off as well. Rather unfortunate. Again, when I'm talking about the Bungie way of taking care of people, these are the people who do that, okay? They're not the talking heads at the top that say, these are the things we value, these are the things we want to do. These are the people on the front lines making sure it gets done. I remember when, a few months ago, when I decided I was going to take my leave from Destiny, the game, for a little while, took a few months off, and I kind of made that known. She reached out, and I was frustrated at the time, and I had strong feelings. So instead of being combative, she reached out privately and was, she was very humble and, said, hey, I've got a meeting with the team today. I'd love to pass along some feedback. What are some of your main pain points? How are you feeling about the game? And was very inquisitive about how my departure could actually benefit their team and let them know, finger on the pulse, what are some of the biggest pain points that PvP players were having at the time. So instead of being combative to ask for insight and to approach delicately like that, that is the Bungie way, people taking care of people. And Liana, no longer employed by Bungie. I think of Griffin, managing their social media. A lot of the fun, playful posts that you see from the Destiny 2 account as Griffin, and a lot of devs have a online presence that's very rigid, that feels very structured, that feels very corporate. And what Griffin brought to the table was a playful dynamic to their social media accounts that actually made people feel really fun and engaged with the studio. And, a lot of times he's posting memes, he's responding to people directly in ways that other devs, their socials don't do. Their socials just say, here's the news, here's the update, here's a link to an article. But the Destiny 2 account is constantly bantering with people, engaging with people, and keeping the community, even like retweeting their troll posts too that Griffin would author. And so it just kind of created another level of interaction between the community and the studio, bridging gaps. And that's something that will be missed with Griffin's now departure from Bungie. And then a horrible, horrible disservice to a man's legacy by laying off Michael Salvatore. Just listen to this. This is a man whose legacy is rich. This is a man who has been composing some of the most iconic soundtracks, some of the most iconic moments in our gaming history were accompanied by his contribution. This is a man who deserved the right to retire at Bungie as their composer. This is a man whose legacy is so rich, it is an absolute disservice to this man to lay him off at this point and not allow him the dignity of retiring from Bungie, considering the contribution that he has made. One of the things that people think about when you think about Halo is you think about the music. I mean, this is music that has been recreated and performed by symphonies across the globe because of how powerful and moving it is. Even Destiny 2, one of the biggest bits of feedback when Destiny 2 launched, in the midst of all the trials and tribulations and the rockiness of that launch, one of the common threads throughout all these reviews was the game might not be great, but that soundtrack is a banger. I think this is a slap in the face. This is very, very uncool. This is not the Bungie way. People taking care of people. These are not all the people that were laid off. These are just the people that I can speak to personally, that I've had personal engagements with. I would highly encourage you, if you see posts online, kind of paying tribute to some other folks that may have lost their jobs as well, that shed them in a very good light, I would encourage you, hey, retweet those, repost those, share those posts. The more eyes are on some of these folks and their talent and their contributions, the more we can honor them and maybe even set them up for future success as well. We even lost some folks in terms of accessibility. So a lot of the accessibility community is really concerned too about what this means for the future of Destiny for people who have certain disabilities, who have hurdles they have to jump in order to be able to play a video game. And Bungie has historically met them halfway and tried to accommodate for them so they can still engage in the story of Destiny. We're losing a lot of those folks too. All this to say, the vibe at Bungie is in shambles. You especially think about the way that some of these people who have been laid off have championed Bungie in the past. You remember these waves of Bungie tweets, or it's just employees just tweeting out, Bungie, yeah, supporting their studio, feeling supported by their studio. The vibe is in shambles now. So I don't know what this means for the future of Destiny, but I have some predictions. I mean, obviously it hasn't been at least at the moment of me recording this commentary, it has not been confirmed that the final shape will be on delay, but we have it on very good authority that the final shape will be delayed until June of 2024 instead of February, which will then completely delay the whole rollout of the episodic future of Destiny 2 as well. So we're going to be shifting away from seasons and into episodes, and it'll delay all of that, push all that back as well. So is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Some people think, hey, this might be good. It might mean that they're just going to up the quality of the final shape and not ship it out too early. But listen, we have had, I want to believe that, but I mean, how many of the last major DLCs, like 3 of the last major DLCs for Destiny 2 have experienced delays? Have they all been bangers? No. No, they have not all been bangers. That's a hotly debated topic. So delays don't always mean things are going to get better. But beyond that, you think about what Bungie is losing. And, I mean, you can't just not have social media team. You can't just not have community managers. Usually what happens is, the big people at Sony are saying, these people, you pay them a lot. Let's fire them and get some young people in there, brand new, that aren't going to want a lot of money. This is a common practice in business where you lay off your more seasoned veterans because after a while, they get expensive, right? Because the longer you are with a company, the more times you get things like raises, bonuses, additions to your healthcare packages and things like that, accommodations, the longer you're with them and the more loyalty you show. So eventually you get expensive, which you would think that's a good thing, taking care of your people. But in the corporate world, a lot of times the longer you are with a company, the more at risk you are of being let go because someone else they think could probably do your job at the same caliber, but they're fresh out of college, and they're cheap because they don't have high expectations. They just want to get a job. So they'll take yours for 75% of the cost. So a lot of times these big companies like Sony, they're going to come in here and they're going to fire a bunch of people and they're going to replace them with people who are cheaper. Some young blood who they think can do the job just as well, but won't ask as much in return. There's a pretty good chance that's going to happen. We're going to see a lot of fresh blood come in and fill those seats. And Sony's going to feel very proud of themselves because they're going to be spending a lot less on manpower in the process. But again, this is not the Bungie way, historically. People taking care of people. So if this is going to be the trend moving forward, I think it's going to be harder for people to want to support the Destiny franchise and what Bungie puts out if the Bungie way of people taking care of people is going to be a thing of the past. I can definitely tell you that my connection to Bungie and my connection to their games, a lot of it is directly influenced by some of these people who have been let go. So my loyalty to the brand will take a hit, more so than it already has. But I don't know. I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? How has this affected you and your perception of Bungie, your perception of the Destiny franchise? What do you think about the future of Destiny in light of what's been happening? Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Please remember to be kind. I know that is increasingly challenging these days for some folks, especially with the anonymity and safety that the internet provides. A lot of times when people log in on the internet, they check their humanity at the door because they feel like they don't need it. But I would encourage you to remember that we're all people talking with other people. And so please do so. Navigate the internet with a little bit of grace, a little bit of compassion. I think that goes a long way. Thanks so much for watching the video today. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you out there on the interwebs. Bye-bye.